Hey everybody, it's time to raid my lab. Okay, so I raided my lab and I came up with pretty much all the LEDs I could. There's a few more I might wind up pulling out, but these are the basics. So one of the things I did, these are some LEDs I actually had left over as a kid, just some old school red LEDs. We're not going to go through and look at every single LED, but these older colored LEDs have a little bit of a warm glow to them, and some people like that. And so, by the way, don't worry, I'm using a current limiting on my power supply, so we're not going to be maxing out the LED or anything like that, but they have kind of a different look. And in fact, if I were to come over here and grab, let me find red somewhere, and hopefully they're not too mixed up. Wow, I don't see red. What happened to red? Red is missing. Oh, here we go. Here's red. Found it. So if you were to come in here and take a new school red LED, you'd see it just has, man, that breadboard stinks. Okay, just has a different kind of more of a crystal-y color. I don't know how well you can see that from your end, but this is the old school one with more of a warm glow compared to the crystal-y glow of the new ones. But basically what I did relatively early on into making is I just decided that I would spend, I don't remember, it was something like 10 or 20 bucks. I'll put the price up on the screen. But I went on eBay and bought 1,000 LED kit. And so I have green and white and red and orange and purple / UV, yellow, pink, yellow, green, warm white, and blue. And so basically anytime I want to do something simple, it's kind of hard to beat these really cheap, just fraction of a cent LEDs for your projects. So I highly recommend if you're into making, I mean, these things are less than a penny a piece, or maybe right around a penny to 2 cents each. So very cool, very cheap, very much the way to go. Another thing I found when I was at Micro Center one day, I don't live near one, but I was able to stop by. I found these really cool 10 millimeter LEDs, just for some perspective. This LED, I believe, is called a 5 millimeter, and I have some 3 millimeters, but I don't use 3 very much. I basically use 5, or then I have these really cool chunky ones. And let's fire up one of these. Here, let's see. Let's go with, we'll do with red since we're on a theme here. So take the red LED, and at the same current, at the same 30 milliamps, that's putting out quite a bit of light. So that's kind of cool. But these things are pretty sweet. I like them. The thing I like about them, they're just different. Like they're just, you don't see 10 millimeter LEDs very often. So we'll pop one more in. Cool. Okay, so that's enough with the single color stuff. The next one we're going to look at are these tricolor LEDs, and these I bought fairly early on into making, and I don't really use them very much, and you'll see why in a minute. They're fine. They just, when you're in a project, basically one of these is going to go to ground, the other 3 are going to go to your power. There's 1 anode, 3 cathodes. I think how it works. I don't know. I might be mixing that up. But anyway, these are just RGB LEDs, and it's going to be kind of hard to see. I'm not going to bother hooking it up, but I guess I could hook up one. Let's see here. Try it right there. Come on, baby. Backwards. I knew it was going to be backwards. So you can see, like right there, I'm lighting up the red side, and basically it has 3 different LEDs in there, and these used to be awesome. And I guess some people still use them, but I'm not a fan. Like it winds up being 3 resistors and just a lot more work. 3 pins on the Arduino, so I basically never use those. I do have a Radio Shack infrared LED, and I have some cool infrared stuff that we might talk about on Raid My Lab when we get to infrared. I did something without using any kind of transistors or boosting, where I'm sending infrared hundreds of feet, probably close to 1,000 feet. So I want to show you that. That's kind of cool. The next thing is, I highly recommend these things. You can buy them in 3mm and 5mm. And what they are these little tiny, they're little tiny LED holders. And there's another little plastic piece, but basically what you can do is you can put it in here and you get a nice, cool, like, professional look on your LEDs. So when you pop that in there, and I picked the wrong breadboard for this, you just get this cool kind of shield around the thing to make it look nice. It protects it. I don't know how well you can see it there, but you can make it stick out as much or as little as you want. But that's pretty cool. So that's the standard LEDs. So let's take a look at some of the RGB stuff. Now this ticks me off. This is a $5 kit from Walmart, and I'll hook it up in a second. But basically, when you look at this picture, you see green lights next to blue lights next to red lights, and that is garbage. That is not what this thing is. In fact, when you look through here, I'm gonna rip it apart and open up out of the package. In fact, I have another one here. I'll use this one. So I don't know if you can see that on your screen. I really need to work on macro shots. But basically what happens is you've got a common and then a green, a red, and a blue. And so basically what happens is every LED has to be the same color. So let's see here. This is going to be some intriguing video. So I thought it came with a USB power thing, but no worries. Let's see. And there should be a remote in here. Standard remote, pull the tab. Power on, did I reverse it? I kind of figured I would. Alright, let me try reversing. Again, there's nothing keyed about it, which is kind of annoying. But, you know, for being a package that shows them all different colors, there's no way to make this thing different colors. Now you can do, you know, effects and all that stuff, and that's cool. And it's $5, which is not bad. But it is complete garbage that they show you on the package that these can be individually addressable. And that's the term we're looking for. So as we come over here and we throw something like that away, we can grab something like this. And what's very cool about these are, people call them NeoPixels, they call them 50/50 LEDs, but the trick is these are individually addressable. And you can see I have different styles, so I don't know, that's maybe 16 LEDs, and that's about 8, and that's about 7, and then these are 4 individual ones just on little cells. And in fact, if you look here, I have a whole thing of just individual cells. And what's so cool about these, and I'll hook one up to show you, these things are addressable in a way that allows you to decide, I want this pixel to be this color, but I want this pixel to be this color. And you know, so there's LED libraries like called Fast LED and different libraries for Arduino that allow you to make some really cool effects if you haven't seen them yet. So I'm going to hook up one of those and I'll show you some of that. And then last but not least, if you are not interested in really dealing with the resistors and the wiring, they sell both this style RGB LED and this style RGB LED on these little tiny breakout boards that allow you to just basically hook them up. This one has a plus or a minus and then red, green, and blue, and you can just hook those up in this little individual 50 millimeter or what, 50, I don't know, whatever it is, 50 by 50 LED can be addressed to be any color. And this is kind of nice, like when you are doing something that has like a status notification light or something, you know, taking a little thing like this and sticking that up through the hole and allowing, you know, basically infinite numbers of colors to be your status light is pretty sweet. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the addressing ones and then we will call it a video. Now, one of the things that makes these 2812 addressable relays so powerful is that basically they use power and ground, and then one wire gives the signal to all of the LEDs. And then in fact, if I wanted to hook up another one of these, I can just tap the power and ground off of this one, and then basically there'll be a pin over here called D in and D out. And so I would take the D out on this side and run it over here to the D in on this side. And if I have another one, I would take from the D out on this side, run it to the D in on this one. And so it's super easy. And I use the Adafruit library, which I will say a lot of times people talk about Adafruit being expensive, and they are. But when you think about it, they developed the libraries for this kind of stuff that make it so easy. Basically, in about 10 seconds, I went in there and downloaded the library, grabbed an example sketch, and told it what pin the LED was connected to and how many I had. And all of a sudden, like, they give you all the tools to do. It's not plugged in, is it? And so, I mean, they do all the work to, and the fact is, it doesn't matter how many LEDs you have. You could have literally thousands of LEDs, and it would be smart enough to make this rainbow effect. And so, a lot of smart people did a lot of hard work to make this stuff so easy. And so, I'm very grateful for that, and I think these LEDs are worth checking out. So, what I'm going to do is, these have actually gone up a good bit in price. I remember paying, I think, 75 cents for these and maybe $2 for these, but they've gone up a good bit in price. But I will go ahead and put some links to these and maybe a few of the other products that I think you guys might find interesting. And hey, I just want to thank you for rating my lab. Subscribe, and if you buy something, feel free to buy it through those links. That helps out the channel a little bit. Have a great day.